if you are seeing this, that means our power did not go out, because this is not just a cozy rainy day video chat, book chat. I don't know if you will be able to hear it, but the wind is very intense out there right now. It's actually what in the New England area we call a nor'easter. I mean, when I first moved here, I thought like I called it a northeaster, but I guess people call them nor'easters. So it's a bigger storm that's rolled in, so it's strong winds and rain, and I could just hear it whipping, and it's wild out there. And it is a cozy day, even though it's a little bit unnerving of like, is the power gonna go out? Is it not gonna go out? But it is actually cozy also. if if the power doesn't go out, it'll be cozy. But yeah, there's like still a lot of the fall colors, and I'm looking over here because I'm like looking out this window here to describe it. There's fall colors, there's leaves blowing around. And just before I turned on this camera to record, I could hear a train in the distance, like not the like chugga chugga of the tracks, but the like honk honk, like the kind of ominous. I mean, I guess is ominous cozy? I don't know. But anyways, I just thought like, wow, it really is kind of a perfect day for a cozy video book rainy day catch up. I don't know. What am I calling this? We'll find out later. But I wanted to do just a informal catch up chat. I have some books to talk to you about that I've read. One I'm still in the middle of reading, and then two I've actually finished. You may remember a previous video. I think I was actually in this exact same hoodie. It's one of my favorite cozy hoodies. I think there's another video of me. I'll link it in the description area below this video, but I have done another casual chat where I'm wearing this hoodie and I'm drinking an instant coffee, and it's disgusting coffee. Like I don't hide it at all. Today again is instant coffee, but a much better coffee. This one is, oh, I forget the name of it, but it's a Vietnamese coffee, instant coffee, and the packet comes with the coffee, the cream, and the sugar all mixed in, and it actually tastes good to me. It depends on your preference. Normally, I like black coffee, but I don't know, sometimes I like to treat myself, and today is a day off of work, and so it's just a cozy day to do nothing and drink coffee and talk about books, you know? But yeah, so this instant coffee is actually good, and I wish I remembered the name to tell you what it is, because it's better than last time's coffee, which was dollar store instant coffee. Maybe that was my mistake, probably. Okay, so let me just take a quick sip here of the good coffee. And I wanted to talk to you about some books. I had mentioned earlier one of these books and said that I could do a follow-up video and talk about how I liked it. This is that follow-up video for this book. I recently read Ferris by Kate DiCamillo. Kate DiCamillo, and I have read her The Magician's Elephant, that book, over and over multiple times. When I was a teacher, I read it to my students every year. I read it myself in a day when I first got the book. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. I can link to where I talk about that book in a little bit more detail with some other books that I've reread multiple times. So I thought, okay, Kate DiCamillo, this looks interesting. It was supposed to be set in the 80s. And oh, another thing, by the way, side note, another thing we have going on is giant trucks coming and going, getting grain, silage, I think it is, or it's hay. I think it's silage. Anyways, so if you hear giant rumbling, that's what it is. Farmers doing their thing. Okay, so this takes place in the 80s, and it's about a girl named Ferris. Well, that's her nickname. And you learn all about the quirky reasons why she's nicknamed Ferris. Has to do with a Ferris wheel and a carnival, and you've got her grandma there, her best friend, an adorable dog, a really wild little sister, Okay, so you may remember if you've seen my previous videos, I wanted to read this in the fall because despite the fact that it does take place in the summertime, which it does, and you can see well, I thought these weren't going to be fireflies. They turned out to be moths. Anyways, it does take place during the summer, but I wanted to read it closer to Halloween because a main part of the description of the story is that the grandma is seeing a ghost, and there's this whole plot device where, what's the message from the ghost and what is grandma saying about the ghost? Okay, you may want like a plot description, but this turned out to not exactly have a plot to me. So if you're like, well, what's it about? I can tell you characters. It doesn't really have a plot. As I was reading it, I was trying to think of like, it has a specific vibe. So I can say this, if you are a fan of like Wes Anderson movies, like that style. So if you know what I'm talking about, when I say a Wes Anderson movie, if you're like, oh, I love those, they're my favorite, then you actually may enjoy this despite there not really being a plot. It's not like once upon a time, this started happening and then this thing happened, but then this happened, like, plot progression. It's more of just like, hey, let's look at a slice of life in this girl and her family's world. And there are actually some pretty disturbing things. Like the ghost is not, to me, the ghost was not the disturbing part of this story. The little sister is, it's actually quite disturbing. Like the author tries to paint her as like, oh my goodness, this silly little girl is just wild. She's actually like, when you read it, at least when I was reading it, I was like, the things that the little sister does are actually like scary. Like if you were babysitting this child, you would be concerned for her future. Like, but the author just throws her in as like, this is a quirky character. Oh, that little sister. Like she tries to rob a bank. She's like 5 or 6, I think. And that's not that's the least disturbing thing. Anyways, all that to say, this book, when I finished it, I was like, I don't feel like, was that worth it? Here's what I will say. I'll stick to the positives. The positives of reading this book were it was really, really touching to read about the relationship between Ferris and her grandma. They had a really, really special, tight connection. They loved each other's company. They played cards together and talked together and shared some really special moments together. So for me, I could relate to that. And I thought that was really special. And it actually was kind of difficult to read about her grandma's condition because it was something that was similar. It was a similar thing that one of my grandmas had to deal with. And so it was a little bit difficult to read that and like, oh, I know how that feels. Or, oh, yep, I've heard that news before for a grandparent. So, I mean, again, if you like Wes Anderson, like if you love Wes Anderson movies, I'll give you a list that I can think of immediately. The Fantastic Mr. Fox movie, it has that kind of vibe. There's one called, it's either just called Dogs or it's like Island of the Dogs or something. But those are 2 Wes Anderson movies I can give you to like compare to the vibe here. Like quirky, strange, also descriptions and like things people say are more spoken in like a poetic way. When you're reading it, you're like, this is not actually how people would talk, in like real life. So I guess it depends what you're looking for. But like for me, I was like, I don't know. I started researching the more recent writings, the Kate DiCamillo's more recent books. And the reviews, people are actually saying they're starting to notice like a lot of her books are kind of having this vibe of like, not much really happened. I don't know if I enjoyed this. A lot of reviews were saying the same thing. So I felt like I wasn't alone. But her previous works, I've only read, like I said, The Magician's Elephant. So things around that era and before still are getting great reviews. Like Winn-Dixie because of Winn-Dixie. Those kind of stories are apparently really fantastic and are much different than her more recent books. So I don't know, authors have things happen to them, it affects their writing. Like, that's maybe something that happened here. But so all that to say, that was Ferris. It was like, it was odd. Okay, so next, what I read. This one is called The Left-Handed Lady by Nancy Springer, and this is book number 2 in the Enola, I don't know if it's Enola or Enola Holmes mystery. Right now, or like in the last few years, there's been like a Netflix series based on these books, which I haven't watched, but I actually wasn't even quite aware of when I picked this up at a library sale. I just liked that it was called The Case of the Left-Handed Lady, and I thought it looked kind of cool. I thought that this was marketed towards middle grade age. I don't recommend this for middle grade. Like, there's some really disturbing stuff in here. And I know, like, okay, like, she's Sherlock Holmes's sister, and they're trying to solve crimes, or she's trying to solve disappearances while still trying to like have her independence, and but she's a teenager, and so I guess this is marketed towards teenagers. But there are 2 very, very disturbing scenes in here with someone attempting to someone I'm trying to be careful, I don't want YouTube to do anything to my video, but to me, I mean, I am very sensitive, but I don't know. This was the descriptions of someone trying to do some things in this book were, to me, much more disturbing than like the cozy mystery books that I read, where I can't look at the crime scene in those books, or when I read them, I'm like, ooh, this to me, when I finished this book, I was home alone and it was dark, and I was kind of like creeped out, and that hasn't like happened to me for a while. And it's not even like a supernatural situation in this story. It's just disturbing to me. For the longest time as I was reading this book, I was like, wow, this is a little more like melancholy than of a story than I typically enjoy, but it was so unique that I was kind of enjoying it. I'm like, will this actually be a 4-star read for me? Definitely not 5, but I was like, this might be a pretty good book actually. But the more and more that it went on, I don't know, the resolution of one of the mysteries, of like the big mystery, was, it just didn't make sense. The beginning of this book builds up the fact that there's something in this era that is really popular. And the author goes on and on about like, it was a thing that was really popular, but it was fake, and people were getting tricked by this very popular thing of this era. I think 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s. I don't want to give details in case you end up reading it. It would give away pretty much the whole plot, like the resolution of it. So they establish like this thing was something that was tricking people into thinking supernatural things were happening. And then as the plot goes on and the resolution of the one mystery is shown to be like, and that person was using this supernatural ability to disappear this person, or to like have influence over this person. I'm like, but you just spend a whole book talking about how this was like something that wasn't real, and people, it just didn't make sense to me. And so 1, I felt disturbed because it creeped me out, and 2, it didn't make sense. So it did not get a 4-star from me, but I don't know, it makes for kind of a cool Halloween type read. Not because it's not actually spooky in that way. It's more of just like, oh, what do you call it? Victorian vibes? Gothic vibes. I think that's the word. Kind of like a Gothic vibes. It's like turn of the century London. So there's a lot of like nighttime and fog, and the rich in the city versus the poor in the city, and their conditions and what they're dealing with. So It's very melancholy. It's very gothic, I guess you could say. So I don't know. I was really hoping for this to turn out better than it did, but I won't be reading any more in that series. I will tell you that much. Okay. I saved the best for last. I haven't finished this one, but I am really loving it. This one is Hana Khan Carries On by, Uzma Halaluddin. I think I'm saying that right. Hope I'm saying that right. So I'm still, I'm like 1/3 of the way through this. So I saw someone else on BookTube review this book, and her description of it was, this was marketed as a romance, and the romance wasn't even that big of a part of the plot. And I was like, okay, then that's what I want to read. Because I don't know if you've seen other videos of mine where I talk about romances and stories where it's like, oh, really? Okay, that's what we're gonna do? Okay. Like, I get annoyed with like the cheesiness that can be in romances in books. And so when that booktuber said that this book was marketed as a romance, but it was not really a romance to her, then I knew that I would like it. Or I at least want to give it a try. And also, this is about the main character has her own podcast, and she's an intern at a radio station. On top of all of that, her family owns a restaurant. And so she is torn between trying to balance her job, her internship at the radio station. She wants to stick with that so that she can get her dream job of actually being paid to have her own show on radio. So she's dealing with working towards that, but also having to balance her family's restaurant is actually struggling and is at the point that I'm at, 1/3 of the way through, it's actually struggling to even stay open. And her family is very tight knit. It's a family business, and she's feeling this pressure of like, I can't fully devote time to the family restaurant and pursue my dream job. And so she's feeling torn. It's really beautiful because her parents are really, really supportive of her chasing her dream job. So that's really beautiful. It's more like self-pressure of seeing her family's restaurant struggle and knowing that she can't do both. Yes, in there, I think there is going to be a romance. The first few pages, I already was like, oh, is this You've Got Mail? I didn't even realize this seems like a retelling of the You've Got Mail story. So for any of you who also, like me, love the movie You've Got Mail, Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, if you know that story, and again, I haven't finished this, so I don't know if it is going to turn out the same way, but the plot, the romance part of the plot is very, like, it's extremely predictable who the anonymous online friend she has. To me, it's very obvious. So the part that I'm interested in is, I'm kind of interested in that part of the story, but I'm more enjoying learning about her family dynamics and her trying to balance her career and all these things. On top of all of that is also her and her family and one of her coworkers dealing with prejudice. So I think that is an added layer of depth to this story that I am enjoying way more than just any romance story, which, it's fine if you are into like just pure romance stories. I just have been loving more deep characters and family dynamics, just stories that deal with those types of things. So, yeah, I haven't finished it, but I highly recommend it if you are someone who, when you were younger, you loved You've Got Mail, but as you've gotten older, you're like, I want something a little bit deeper, a little bit more, I don't know. It's not drama. It doesn't feel like, oh, the drama in this book. Just the depth of relationships and family dynamics and navigating career and your dream job. Will you ever get your dream job? Trying to do things online. She has a podcast. So I don't know. There were just a lot of things like that appealed to me about this story, and I am loving it. I hope I continue to love it. I hope I end up giving it like a 4 or even a 5 star. It's been really, really good. So That is my rainy day catch up. Feel free to check out my other book reviews and my cozy catch up videos that I've done. I will link them below. I have my instant coffee here, which again is actually good. But if you would like to help support the channel even more than you are by watching and maybe subscribing, then feel free to check out my Buy Me a Coffee website, and where you can make either just a one-time donation or a monthly membership donation. Oh. Monthly, you could join the monthly membership. That's what I'm trying to say. They are for anyone who is not on a tight budget, and there are three different options. Options. That's the right word. There are three different options. The first option starts at $2 a month. Okay. Good thing it's a day off. I'm going to continue to drink coffee, maybe read some books, and feel free to leave me a comment and let me know what you've been reading, or if you have read any of these books. I would love to hear your perspective on them, or if any of these sound good to you. What do you think about Kate DiCamillo and her writing? How her books have been different from each other. Also, feel free to check out the Honest Gratitude Journal that I am selling on Amazon KDP. That will also be in the description. Thanks for watching. Whoa. Almost bent the cover of that book. Okay.